Welcome to our series, Dyin,
Cryin
and Lyin on Two Luckies,
the podcast. This is a series where we rewatch Little House on the Prairie, a show that we loved when we were kids, and we give our perspective on it as adults.
As adults, and I must say, watching it as an adult has been very different.
It's been extremely different, and we found out that their plots tend to have three main categories. They are either dying,
They're crying,
or they are lying. And we figured out that they have 2 out of the 3 categories every episode. So if you want to know what it's like to sit in the car with us and have us tell you a story with categories, you're about to find out. So buckle up. Here we go. For Two Luckies, the podcast presents Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin.
Season 2, Episode 2, Four Eyes.
School just got out and those kids are running down those steps.
Oh, they're trucking.
They are trucking down those steps, and Laura comes out and she is very dejected, and she just kind of sits down with her empty lunch pail, and she's looking kind of sad, and she's followed by Willie and Nellie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Nellie is
right
saying how they're going to be rich because they get paid 5 cents for B's, and I forgot how many for A's.
10 cents for A's.
10 cents for A's, and because Nellie got the best grades, that she was going to be rich because of it, and even Willie got all B's, and he was all excited. And then we find out that Pa says
it's the learning that's important.
And even eggs get graded. So she just pushed past them, and Willie fell down. And I didn't even think she came that close to him, but that's how we started it. And now Miss Beadle is writing a whole bunch of stuff on that blackboard that's behind the curtain that they hide the blackboard when they're using it for church.
She seemed like she was a little bit sassy, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
So we're with Miss Beadle in the school, and we see Mary's actually there, and she's copying this whole text that's written on the blackboard.
And she's standing very close, and it's very small writing, I will say.
And we find out that Mary didn't do quite so well on her recent tests, and she's looking kind of dejected.
Well, she's
Miss
known
Beadle's
for being
saying,
a good student.
Right, and I'm asking this question to myself. If this is a student who is always doing so well, and she's standing like maybe not even 6 inches from the blackboard trying to read this.
She was really close, yeah.
Why is it all of a sudden, well, if you need extra help, I'm available. Maybe something else is going on.
Yeah, I mean, she's known for being a good student. She's usually rivaling Nellie for like top grades here.
But the funny thing was, she turns around and says, well, Pa always says if you don't do something right the first time, you should just try again.
So it's a very Pa says kind of episode.
They're quoting Chaz a lot.
They got
here.
the Chaz. Nellie has to come down the steps as they're trying to go home, Mary and Laura. And Mary is power walking, but she didn't power walk fast enough because Nellie decided to be a big pain in the butt and say, you did terrible. Were you trying to get Miss Beadle to change your grades?
Yeah, so what do we really find out there? That Mary says she did horrible, and I guess it was for the semester or however long
they
the
really
marking
didn't give us a
period
time
was.
frame.
But, she's not happy, and it looks like they're on their way walking home, but, that didn't stop her from the old power walk, now did it?
She did, except it was a sad power walk instead of her regular, I got to get somewhere quick kind of power walk. But Nellie's comment got to her, and her sister Laura was trying to make her happy, and it was to no avail. They are walking home both dejected.
It's nighttime now, and we're back at the little house, and oh boy, are we just loaded with some surprises. Let's start off with them all sitting around the table, and there's Chaz with the pipe.
The pipe is back!
Pipe is back, and we got Carrie.
Carrie was out of the high chair, and she's with Ma, and Ma brings her over by the hand and sits her on her lap, and she's brushing her hair.
And we also have to say, Chaz, you're still wearing that season 1 shirt. But the whole point of this scene was them to hand over their report card to Chaz, and Laura goes first, and she's so happy, and she was able to improve her reading grade,
She was able to improve her reading grade because it was all, review words, and she said, it wasn't really anything.
Yep, and Mary's standing over there trying to wipe the dishes, looking like she's getting ready to go to the gallows or something.
Yeah,
she hands over her report card, and Chaz is, it looks like you need a little improvement, but, you're working hard, and no problems there. You're not angry with me?
Well, we found out that Mary had increased her grade level because this is a one-room schoolhouse. Everybody in the building is at a different grade level altogether. And they figure, oh, well, the coursework is harder, so this is why she's doing poorly.
So they send the two of them, Laura and Mary, to bed, and Carrie's still up.
She's still up, and she
I
had
don't
two
get that.
lines.
But here's Ma. I wanted to talk to you, Chaz, before you saw Mary's report card.
And he said, what did you think I was going to be raising Cain? Well, I guess she really did, but he feels that the coursework got harder, and that's why. But Ma says, I don't understand why, because she's working harder than ever.
Right, so nobody's picking up on the fact that she can't see yet.
Yes, we picked up on that fact. Now, you know that fact, but she is over here now by lantern light, squinting at a book, trying to get her studying in, and she looks like she may actually be hitting one of our categories soon, because we all know this is Dyin, Cryin and Lyin, and they love to remind us of that. Ooh. Well, Mary is over there on Laura's side of the bed because she's trying to get close to the lamp. Laura is doing nothing but complaining on her side of the bed, saying how it's uncomfortable, and I really want to go back. And Mary says, well, I guess, it was another Pa says kind of thing. Pa says studying doesn't do you any good if you don't have any sleep. So then they end up switching back. Laura says this side feels the same, which I think Mary already knew that both sides felt equally uncomfortable. And they end up trying to go to sleep, but we don't feel that Mary is doing very well. She's been rubbing her eyes very much. I thought we were going to get a Cryin, but we're waiting. They have yet to hit a category yet. This is probably the longest they've gone.
Still early.
It's still early. We were hopeful.
Morning time at the Ingalls farm. Here comes Chaz walking out of the barn. Looks like he was milking the cow.
And we see Jack the dog.
Jack's going to greet him. Comes inside and everybody's hustling and bustling.
No, Carrie was at the window. She was waiting and she was out of the high chair, and Laura actually put her into a big girl chair. There was no high chair to be found.
She's moving up in the world.
She's moving up.
They say, where's Mary? Oh, she's still upstairs.
Oh, she's not talking to me this morning.
Yeah, that's right. She's not talking to me.
I
said, got up on the wrong side of the bed.
And she said, no, we switched back.
So anyway, he yells up to Mary, Mary, come on, you're going to be late for school. They pan upstairs. Mary's pacing around trying to read this. And
she's still not ready.
This tablet, because I think she had a test or something that she was trying to study for.
And she was in her nightgown.
So here comes Chaz up the stairs. All of a sudden, she dives into bed. Hey, why aren't you up? Pa, I don't feel so good.
And we're going to call
that Lyin.
You were just studying 2 seconds ago. You knew you had to go, and you found the opportunity to get out of it by jumping into bed.
Yep. So he caves and tells her she can stay in bed.
Yes, and Ma'll make you something to eat when you're hungry. So she got out of going to school, but she did look a little guilty, even though she said to Pa, honest, Pa.
Yeah, honest, Pa. Nope.
We're at the mercantile, and Mrs. Olson is counting Ma's eggs, and she says, these double yolks merit an extra penny a dozen, to which I'm going to call a Lyin, because you only use that as an excuse so you can bring up the fact that you pay your children money, which is Ma's quote. She didn't feel that it was necessary to pay children for grades, so she had to go on and on about how well Willie and Nellie had done and that they were giving them money for their grades, and Ma was not interested in that at all. They love their children no matter what grades they get, and their children, the Ingalls children, work around the farm. So it was a very tense, very pissy kind of interchange between the two of these women who were constantly fighting with each other.
It looks like the same tit for tat they had back in season 1, doesn't it?
Not only that, it's the same dynamic that happens with their children.
And can I bring up another point too?
Sure.
Did you happen to notice Mrs. Olson? She is wearing the same shirt.
She is actually wearing the dress made out of the fabric that they used in that Christmas episode for the first season for Charles, that he got 2 of the same shirt, one from Mary and one from Ma, and Ma just hit her, so I think she just rotates them around the laundry, and maybe he just doesn't feel like he notices. But she is wearing a dress, Mrs. Olson, of the same fabric, of the same shirt that Chaz occasionally wears. We think it's supposed to be his Sunday shirt, but sometimes it comes out of odd timing. It just does. I don't know why. And now Miss Beadle is using I forgot what this thing was called.
Sheepskin.
It's a sheepskin. Then she's rubbing that chalk off that blackboard, and Ma went right from the Olsons right over next door with her empty basket because Mrs. Olson took the eggs, and she's getting ready to talk to the teacher.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So Ma's in the school now, and she's there to talk to Miss Beadle about Mary and her grades, and it kind of got a little tense there for a minute because Ma was getting that old snookerty.
Well, she actually thought that Miss Beadle was trying to say that Mary was unintelligent, which was not the case. She was saying that some students, when they get to more complicated stuff, flounder and they maybe need a little more slower of a pace. But she's looking to reduce Mary's grade in grade level.
Like she wants to hold her back.
If she's like 7th grade, she wants to put her back down to the grade she just came out of.
And Ma was like beside herself with all of that.
Oh my gosh, she got really grouchy.
Ma's answer is she having boy problems?
Right, that was her big, is she having boy problems? But the problem really was that Mary, we now find out from Miss Beadle, her last test, she was unable to get a passing grade because she didn't finish half of the test.
Right.
And then she was supposed to have a history test, and then that's when Ma found out that Mary was a lion. And that's why she stayed home that day. And then she realized that's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
So Ma's laying there awake, and Charles is trying to go to sleep, and she waits until just as he's about to fall asleep to tell him all the stuff about Miss Beadle and Mary and how she may have to be left back. We all told you all about this already. But now she's relaying this to Charles, and instead of taking him like out into the field maybe during the day, or I mean,
right.
I know things are busy.
Why do you wait till this time?
I mean, then they don't have walls,
whatever.
so she probably waited until the kids were asleep. But like, you wait until he's asleep. That's all I can think about. Like, you wait until he's almost asleep. She does this a lot.
And what's the first thing that Chaz comes back with?
It's got to be a boy. It's probably a boy.
That's what I said.
Guess what? Mary is uninterested. Both of you, get out of that. She's not interested. She's having trouble, and you guys are missing it left and right. They're making all kinds of excuses, and now even he's surprised, and they're going to ask her in the morning. They pan back upstairs, and Laura is trying to fitfully go to sleep, and Mary has been trying so hard she has now fallen asleep at her desk in front of the lantern, and she is really struggling here, and their whole try harder thing is just making her more and more exhausted.
Yeah,
here.
They're going to have to get to the bottom of this.
They really do, and they better do it quick.
We're in the schoolhouse, and Miss Beadle is up at the board, and that board is chock full of writing that is so teeny tiny.
I mean, really, I think anybody would have struggled to see this from a distance.
But part of this board is listed with a bunch of dates that she said are for the big history exam
right, there's an
that's coming
annual
up.
history competition, and she's trying to get everybody ready for it. And there's a whole bunch of dates, and she's pointing with her pointer at the date.
And this is where we get the first clue, because as she's going around, Mary's just kind of sitting there with her hands around her head, just kind of looking down.
She looks exhausted, and she's looking down.
Miss Beadle keeps looking at her, and she doesn't volunteer to answer anything. And finally, she calls on her and it says, "Mary." She stands up and just kind of looks lost and goes, "I'm sorry, Miss Beadle, I don't know the answer."
Yeah, she said, "I don't know the answer." She just sits down, and the whole time there was Nellie and Willie that were answering the questions, popping up and down, trying to show how much they know. And Mary just looks very sad in this.
We're going to see if they get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, I hope they figure it out soon, because seeing Mary the sad is kind of sad. All the other kids are out in the schoolyard, and Mary is just trying to get out of the school already with her books. And we have Nellie. She's over there, and she's going on and on and on about how she's going to win the history competition, and her grades are so good. My mother says. So while the Ingalls family has Pa says, then the Olsen family has my mother says.
Yep.
They're having a whole bunch of that.
She's being
and Mary
a scutch.
is just trying to go home so she can get her chores done so she can study. And now Laura is over there dancing around her like, please, we need another person to play. And she's like, finally, she's like, okay, fine. So she goes to play with Laura instead of going home early to go get her chores done so she could do more studying. But Nellie is all over them. Well, Pa comes in while Laura is over there raking some very food-looking hay out of the stalls that were supposed to be the kind of hay for bedding. I don't know what they were thinking about that. And she explains to Pa, who's wearing that same shirt, by the way, that the reason why she's mucking the stalls out is because Mary got hurt playing that game today, and she felt bad about it. And she really meant that she felt bad about it, but she didn't think Mary believed her. And now she's trying to get the hay out of there, and this is not her favorite job to do. So Pa actually takes it over for her and does the cleanup for her and lets her go inside.
Yep, sends her inside, but not without giving the smirk first.
Yeah, the smirk.
Nighttime at the Ingalls house. We pan in. There's Ma and Pa laying in bed, and old Chaz is just kind of flopping around. He turns over and sees that the lantern light is still on. So he gets up. He sees Mary still sitting at the table and is like, "Why are you still up?" But I gotta hand it to old Chaz because he finally figured out what the problem was.
We had the aha moment.
Wait a minute. Here, you just had these numbers reversed around, and then as she stood there, and then she had to walk over practically in front of him to say, oh yeah, I see it now. And it's like, bing, bing, bing. Hey, guess what? She can't see.
Right, but when he asked her why you couldn't see it when you were over in her chair.
Then she said, I could see it just fine,
and we
Pa.
know that's lying.
There's the category right there.
And then
Chaz plays old doctor and writes down a bunch of numbers and tells her to go stand by the window, and when she can't see those, we had our first
crying.
I can't see it, Pa.
Right, so we found out she had been lying the entire time, and then the poor thing's over here crying now because she couldn't admit that she couldn't see it. But now the jig is up and the cat's out of the bag, and we all know, well, we already knew when we first started this, because especially if you read the name of the episode, they call her Four Eyes, which is another way for saying somebody who wears glasses, and it's not a very nice thing to say. Now, Pa's got that dream team of horses a-jingling from the 100-mile walk, and he is bringing Mary to Mankato. We find out that it's 3 days out and 3 days back of travel, but it's a good time of year to do it. This Dr. Burke is an eye doctor, comes highly recommended by Doc Baker, who's the local town doctor.
Right.
And he has all the latest equipment. Now, we start out with some satellite-looking, dish-looking thing, and he's got this mirror that he's looking at and two, taper candles next to her face. But I will say, when he was doing the thing to make whatever your prescription is going to be, that surprisingly looks like the same stuff they use now. I was actually kind of impressed that they came up with that in the 1800s. They've been using it ever since. Talk about efficiency. But we go through this whole long drawn-out thing that he told her a beautiful eye is a healthy eye, which no. He thought it was some kind of eye strain, which no, we already know it's not. And then he tells her, you're going to have an experience you'll never have before. And he puts a pair of the most uncomfortable looking glasses on her face. And then she goes, I can see.
They kind of looked like John Lennon glasses.
They are kind of like John Lennon glasses. And they had those really curly things that went almost a whole full circle around your ears. There was no way she was going to shake those off if she shook her head or looked down. Those glasses were set on her face. But now she's all excited. But I really do think that she was worried about saying something because glasses are expensive.
Right.
Eye doctors are expensive. And they did do a little public service announcement about how, maybe someday they'll make it so that they check children's eyes at the beginning of the school year. It's
But I got to give credit to Chaz. He was wearing the Christmas episode shirt.
He wore his special shirt. He wore the shirt that Mary made for him over to go take her to Mankato.
Him and Mrs. Olsen could have been twins.
Well, and he tried to do the right thing, and he's trusting this doctor that everything's fine and everything's great with her eyes. On the way back home, they're jingling with that team of horses, and Mary is looking around like she's never seen anything before in her entire life, and now everything is so clear. And the doctor had told her she has to wear her glasses continuously for a month, and then after that, just for her homework.
Right, because
she's
give her
like,
eyes
I love
a chance
my glasses.
to recover from the eye strain.
Yes, he feels that her muscles will have some time to relax then. But she is very happy about her new glasses, and Charles is over the moon that he was able to do something for her, and they're on the way home.
The scene is at the Ingalls farm, and we got Laura at the creek with Jack, and she's filling up a bucket of water when you see the old dream team jingling down the road. Laura turns around, gets up, dumps out the whole bucket, and goes running to the house. Ma, Pa's home.
And I'm like, what about Mary?
What about Mary? Yeah, he left her behind.
No, she was in the wagon.
She comes running out of the house with Ma, and they say, oh, I didn't expect you back.
Carrie was running out too.
Carrie was there too. Didn't expect you back so soon. And then Ma looks at Mary and goes, oh, Mary. And they pan over to Mary, and she's staring at her with it looked like 1,000-yard stare.
No, yeah, she looked like she was staring into another universe so far out.
It's all of a sudden they said after 2 or 3 seconds, okay, go. And then all of a sudden she smiles. Oh, thanks, Ma.
Yeah, it was a very odd scene. I don't know. That was just kind of strange.
But said that they run into the house and there's Ma and Pa outside and go, oh, the doctor, is she really gonna be okay? Oh, she's twice as well now.
Yeah, they're really excited because they think that they've solved this problem for her. Boy, Mary and Laura line up with Willie and Nellie coming out of that Olson's Mercantile quite a bit.
They're making up for all the time that Nellie and Willie weren't in season 1.
Yes, and now Nellie, of course, has to zero in right away immediately on the glasses that she's supposed to be wearing all the time for the first month, and she has something nasty to say, and then Willie starts calling her Four Eyes because she has 2 real ones and 2 glass eyes and 2 real eyes, and they're just back and forth nasty. Laura threatens to give Willie two black eyes, which I really, when I was a kid, I would have given him the 2 black eyes anyway, even though her sister said, no, don't do it. And she tried to go inside, but you can see already that she's already feeling bad about wearing her glasses. And Nellie was saying, I would never wear something so ugly. I didn't think you had the nerve to wear them. Yeah. So she's already getting grief for it.
But then she said the magic thing over there, because Laura tried to tell her Miss Beadle wears glasses and she's not ugly. And she said Miss Beadle's single.
Yeah, she doesn't have a husband.
Mary's going to grow up to be an old spinster, and because nobody marries anybody with 4 eyes.
Yes, that's what she said.
We're in school, and there's Miss Beadle standing up there again, calling on students to answer questions from the board. And then she calls on Mary, who's super excited, until all the kids turn around and start calling, 4 eyes, 4 eyes.
And she's like, class.
Yeah, but then she turns around and she puts on the exact same pair of glasses on herself. And you can see Mary looking at her, and I already know where they're going with this.
Yes, we know where they're going with this.
Goes back to that earlier comment. But she was able to answer. She said she caught up on all her work, and she wants her to take part in the history competition coming up.
Well, and Miss Beadle said, I hope your glasses are as much of a comfort to you as they are to me.
Mm-hmm.
So she's catching up at least. Mary is burning the midnight oil. She's got that lantern on upstairs. They didn't even show Laura this time. She must be over it that she's always studying. And Ma comes upstairs, up the ladder, and says how proud they are and how she talked to Miss Beadle and how much better Mary is doing and how everything is getting great. And you're going to be just like Miss Beadle. So they keep saying this Miss Beadle angle. And Nellie had already drilled home that Miss Beadle is an unmarried woman, and she feels that it's because of her glasses. So now Mary is like, great, I have these glasses, and I'm going to be forever unmarried. So she must have marriage on her mind, because back then, that's pretty much what they encouraged women to do. You were supposed to get married.
That was it.
That was pretty much it.
We're at the schoolhouse. They come running out of the school, and there's Nellie standing up there telling everybody, quick, here she comes, hide.
Hide, here she comes.
Here comes Mary walking outside. Hey, do you want to play a game with us? And it's basically them just making fun of her, because we're going to play Guess Who, and you have to guess who it is. And there's Willie holding 2 glasses up to his eyes, going,
it was almost like 2 small glasses.
4 eyes. And I got the feeling watching this episode that this seems kind of like retribution for Mary, really against Mary, when you go back to the, the award?
Oh, maybe.
When she was hitting that lion button all the way through and almost burned the barn down, and I said, she's got a little bit of a devilish side to her. It kind of seems like this is payback. But anyway, Willie does this, and she goes running off, and that brought us our next Cryin. She runs away up to this big log. She takes the glasses off.
And Laura had chased Willie because she had her fist ready. She was about to give him those black eyes.
She takes the glasses and she hides them in a big hollow log.
I mean, really, the way she hid them is, I mean, I know they wanted to make like some kind of a statement for the camera, but if the sun had hit this, she would have started a fire with these.
Oh, yeah.
Because glasses back then were actually made out of glass. Pa is over there back in his season 1 shirt. He's doing something with the wagon.
The shirt.
And then Carrie is helping Ma, and they're feeding the chickens. And Laura comes up and she says, can I go fishing? She didn't have any homework, so she went over to go fishing. And now Mary comes in without her.
No glasses.
She has no glasses on her face, and she did a triple Lyin, because she said she lost them. She took them off to play games for recess.
She took them
and
off
she
for
put
recess.
them in her pocket, and she looked all over the place, and we saw you stow them in this log. Then now we're looking at it again because they just changed the scenes, and we know that all of that was a Lyin. And now Ma and Pa are really upset because he's going to have to wait until they have a really big inflush of cash at harvest time to be able to get another pair of glasses, which means it is probably at least 6 months away from where they're at.
Oh, yeah, he was pissed.
And now she's going to go in somehow and do her homework when she couldn't even see the broadside of a barn, like what, not even 10 minutes ago.
Mary's up bright and early. She's outside to go talk to Pa. He's in the barn doing something and lets her know, yeah, I'm heading off to school early, look for the glasses. And he says, Pa, if I don't find them, you don't have to buy me another pair again. And Chaz,
I don't deserve another pair.
First of all, Chaz, you're back in that season 1 shirt again.
Yes.
I guess the other one got dirty, but he turns around and you can see on his face that he sees something's not hitting home, but of course he's Pa, so he always says the wrong thing. Hey, Mary, listen, lots of people wear glasses, including Miss Beadle.
And she's like, yeah, I know. Meanwhile, if they would stop mentioning Miss Beadle and just talk about her eyes working properly and being able to see, maybe that would be a better angle.
Something crossed my mind. He knew yesterday that she said she lost the glasses. School's only 3 miles away. Why didn't they all go into town and look for the glasses? It was still light out.
It really was. And he was like, oh, it's too late now. And I thought it was pretty bright outside. It looked like it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
You can't take time out of your rake in the barn or doing whatever the hell you're doing to go look for something that was that expensive to you.
Well, and then he's saying to her in the barn, like, well, I'll think about not getting you another pair of glasses. I thought she needed these glasses because she couldn't see anything. And now all of a sudden you're considering maybe not having her have glasses. It was just a kind of a weird thing. But you can see his guts telling him something, but they keep pressing this Miss Beadle button.
The Beadle button.
And the Beadle button is being pressed. And it is just making Mary think old Spencer, old maid. And it is not helping their case at all.
So we're back inside the schoolhouse and they're still calling on the children, and now Mary's standing there without her glasses, and of course Nellie's got to make some kind of sarcastic remark about 4 eyes again.
And she wasn't even wearing her glasses, so why are you calling her 4 eyes now?
And if you look at the writing on the board anyway, it's
tiny.
Like I was having trouble reading that.
I think anyway, this is like the fine print at the bottom of like the ads that you get, this is like really small.
Yeah, so Mary stands up. Obviously she can't see it, and this time Miss Beadle just cut her off, so we don't have time for you.
Well, no, for lunch. Meanwhile, she had time to call on her, so I'm going to call that a mini Lyin.
So
because we know she had time.
So they break for recess. They go outside, teeter-tottering, and all you hear is Nellie, the big windbag she is.
Oh, and how she's going to get $1 for getting the best score.
Mary and Laura are on the teeter-totter, and Mary, I wish you hadn't lost those glasses. You could beat that Nellie real easy, and I don't care. And she just gets off.
I know, and Laura goes like crashing down to the ground. Like when somebody gets off the teeter-totter, you got to
runs off and just sits by herself on the other side of the school. And then who comes pulling up in this buckboard? It was this guy wearing a white derby. He was kind of a creeper.
Mary is like, I want to say 11 here. Maybe. I mean, I would say 11 years old. He's calling her blue eyes. He's complimenting her.
And you know where I could find your teacher?
Yeah, and she's like, well, she's inside. And then he's got a bouquet of flowers. He gives her a flower. And then they come inside and see Miss Beadle and this guy are necking. Yes, she's kissing him, and they are standing there, and she's like, oh my gosh, she's so flustered because Mary comes in to go bring water for her flower. They have no indoor plumbing. Why would you go inside to get water for your flower? If anything, you would go outside to the well pump somewhere. I don't understand why she was going inside. This was kind of a flimsy excuse. And he says, oh, well, I'm her beau, meaning Miss Beadle has a boyfriend. And said, well, maybe I wouldn't have picked you if I had met old Blue Eyes over here. Talking about Mary, she is 11 years old. I know I remember as a kid thinking probably this was like something sweet, but as an adult, it really just comes off kind of icky. But she finds out now that Miss Beadle has a boyfriend and she's all hot, ready to go take this test. So she says, do I have time to take the test? And she says, oh, Miss Beadle says, yes, we have 5 minutes. And she's running now out to the log.
Here we go.
Laura's really cute about her sister. She really is. She goes running over to the mill. She's looking for Pa. Pa! He's like, I'm down here, half pint. And she goes looking over there and she says, Mary won the award and Nellie's really mad and Mary won the whole thing and I'm going to run ahead and tell Ma. But she was so excited that Mary did it and she was proud of her. And then Mary comes over and boy, she looks sad for somebody who just won an award because she fesses up to Pa that she had been lying about losing her glasses and she hid them in a log and that she had them in her pocket and she showed them to him and he said, you know, I had a feeling it was something like this when she explained that Nellie kept calling her Four Eyes and that's why she didn't want to wear the glasses and he had an inkling about it, but they knew they hit 2 out of 3 of our categories just like they always do, and sometimes we get more because this is Dyin, Cryin and Lyin, and they were, at least in this one, crying and lying all over the place. So we thank you, writers. You had our bags.
Thank you, writers. And make sure you join us for the next episode, which is called Ebenezer Sprague.
Ebenezer Sprague.
Ebenezer Sprague.
All right.
And that concludes this episode on Dyin,
Cryin
and Lyin on Two Luckies.
Two Luckies.
The podcast.
We release these weekly, and there's a whole bunch of them out already, so go check them out.
We'll see you the next time.
We're out.
Two Luckies, the podcast.
Two Luckies, the podcast. Two Luckies, the podcast.
It's time for the fun fact.
Hey!
Fun fact. This is the first episode we've done since the end of the Battle of the Wallpaper of 2026. We are back in our bed. We have our furniture. The wallpaper has been defeated.
And we were victorious.
Color on the wall.
Yee-hoo! We can finally sleep. So now we'll be able to do our regular recordings again because that wallpaper was kicking our butts all over the place.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for staying.